So, what Shendra is saying is that once you have your sacrifice is successful, your normal energy in the physical world is very limited. It is full of capacity, and also the vital is full of defects. No? It has got all sorts of wrong emotions. So Shendra is saying that the true vital force, when that is transformed, okay, it becomes, and he's using a little poetic language, okay, wide-wayed angel of life with his wings of might. It becomes pure energy which is capable of taking you to huge heights and doing almost impossible tasks. Okay, so that's what it means basically. Your lower vital is transformed and becomes real Chit Shakti. That's what he's saying, and he's describing. He's saying our normal condition is divided, striving surface energy. Our normal vital is divided. It has got all sorts of contradictory movements within itself. And it is trying hard to do something. And it's a surface energy. This is the description of our normal vital being. But when it gets transformed, but a great and radiant divine power, that power becomes so intense, no more imperfections, no more impurities in it, and it's a wide-wayed angel. It's a way of saying wide-wayed means a tremendous amount of power capable of any action. He's using an image. It's not an angel. It becomes like an angel, wide-wayed angel of life. And power, wings of might. Might may not have wings, but this transformed vital has wings. It can go to any height and any. Remember, Mother and Srando used to sleep, not even sleep actually, only for 2 hours. Srando used to work the whole night, and then at 6 o'clock in the morning, he would rest a little bit. And at 8 o'clock, bath, breakfast and all that, and again start his work. So, who can do that? When your vital is transformed, the amount of power that comes into you, you need very little rest. Okay? That's what he's saying. That's what I understand. The true vital force compared to the normal vital that we have. He is not referring to any one particular angel or anything. But the image is there. Wide-wayed angel, and angels have wings. So with his wings of might, it's an image he is using. So I'm going to use of images. Yasmin, thank you, because I missed the image. I thought it's not, but wide-wayed angel, and the angel has wings. And the wings are what? The power. So he's using a very clear image again. That's what the transformed vital becomes. And to explain that further, if I give you the example of Hanuman, then it becomes very clear what he means by wings of might. Okay, Hanuman is the symbol of the transformed vital. How do I say that? First of all, he is an animal. And which part in us is that of the animal? The vital. Why? Because our body is matter. Our vital is coming from prana. And the animal has got only prana. It's got a body and a prana. So the animal is representative of the vital. But Hanuman is the transformed vital. And how do I say that? Because when he opens his chest, he sees Ram and Sita seated there within. So the symbol is very clear. And that's why he worshipped, but he worshipped all over India in a very ignorant way. any monkey going anywhere, they start worshipping. So they're not understanding the symbol. So, and he can do what? He can do unbelievable things. He can burn whole Lanka with his tail, which has been set on fire by the Asuras themselves. Then he can also carry a whole hill. When he's asked to bring that Sanjeevani plant, he doesn't know which one it is, so he brings the whole plant. The whole hill. So this is what is the wings of might. They become a tremendously powerful force. That's what Sri saying. Okay? Yes, then I hope my explanation is sufficiently satisfying.
Yes, please. Can I say a little bit about Hanuman?
Go ahead.
You know, there was a WhatsApp message which said
Ah,
that the height at which various birds fly. So at the lower level, you have the crow and the pigeon and the kite and the eagle. And at the highest sixth level is a certain type of a goose. Now, Hanuman flew at the seventh level, which was much above the level of the geese. And it was at that time that in the Ramayana, they have noted down the 6 levels of the various birds, and that Hanuman flew at the 7th level. So the ancients knew about the aviation and what was the level of the various birds flying, which now we have discovered, but it was known in the Ramayana.
yeah. Okay, we can take that. I don't know who has written that, but certainly the power to rise as high as possible is there, because he's saying angel of life is his wings, so he can actually fly. He can fly very high. So maybe what that WhatsApp message, there is some truth in it, but I don't know. I'll have to see very carefully what they are saying. But sometimes many of our scriptures are not interpreted correctly. But anyway, there is great respect for scriptures. And yeah, it's interesting. But one thing is sure, that Hanuman is the representative of the psychicized vital. That's for sure. Transformed vital by the psychic. Okay, so shall we read today what we have to read? Yeah, we're gone 5-6 minutes beyond our time. So I'll do one thing. I'll read out the summary of what we have said earlier, because 1 week ago. So once we do that, then we'll start reading what we have to read today. So just 1 minute. Yeah. Okay. So what he has said in the previous para is this. He says the 3 conditions referred to above are not new. You remember what the 3 conditions are? The conquest of desire, the bringing forward of the psychic being, and the
Abolishing
abolition
ego.
of the ego. That's right. So these are the 3 conditions. And he is saying now, Sriyanda is saying that this is nothing new. It's there from a long time in our yogic practices. They have always been there for yoga from ancient times. They are essential conditions for any spiritual life. They have of course been expressed best in the Gita. And the first is renounce the desire for the fruit of works. Do the work needed, but without aiming at an egoistic desire for the successful completion of your effort. Put in your whole effort, but don't hanker for the result. Leave the result to God. And don't feel depressed if the success does not come. Not easy, but that's the only way for spiritual life. Then eliminate desire in all variations. In all, desire can come in so many ways, and also so many hidden ways. Then next is attain to a complete equality, samatha, which will be the sign of the abolition of desire. Learn to see all and everything with an equal eye, an impartial gaze, pleasant, unpleasant, success and failure, high and low, friend or enemy. Look on all things with an undisturbed, calm consciousness. Try to see the One, the divine presence in all things and in all creatures. The spiritual equality, unruffled and calm, is not a mental quietness. It's not an aloofness. You may mistake that. Someone who is very calm and quiet need not be in a condition of equality. He may just be, it could be anything. Not an aloofness, not an indifference, not merely an absence of vital desires and activities. They are all negative things. They are very good, but they are negative. But the real thing, the samatha is something positive. Okay? Nor is it a physical inaction. These things are often mistaken for the real spiritual active passivity. The other things are all absence of desire, absence of motion. All these things are not the real equality. These things are often mistaken for the real spiritual active passivity. It is the eternal, omnipresent presence of peace behind all forms and creatures, behind all activities of seeming disorder and confused action. But you are absolutely calm and quiet. Seeming disorder. In the world, there is a lot of conflict and disorder and disharmony, but it is only apparent. You have to see the reality behind all that. There is a supporting peace, vast, calm, silent, full of static power. Power is there, but static. Itself immutable, it bears and supports all the movement and mutability in the universe. There is no choice in the silent witness. That means you don't have to choose between this and that. The moment you have questions and you have this and that, questions are there, that means you are not equal. Equal is absolutely without any questioning, no choice at all. You're just watching. You don't make a decision. No decisions. There is no choice in the silent witness. All is decided by the supreme divine will, though it may express itself through the body, life, mind in the lower planes. The true being can emerge into the outer surface being only when desire is abolished and an unshakable equality is established in the outer nature. The outer nature, your body, your vital and your mind. The outer desired soul is then replaced by the true vital being. The troubled, harassed outer nature is then removed and a calm, unshakable peace and power takes its place. Note the word power. The power and peace. That's what he's been saying about the wide-range angel. Okay, I've summarized in a less poetic manner, but it is the same. Okay, peace and power. That's what he's saying. He's also using the word full of peace and strength and bliss. Not only peace, but also ananda. It's a calm, quiet, infinite ananda. So that's what he said in the previous paragraph. Now we'll read. So, Archana read yesterday. So today you read first.
Ranganath, we have read this paragraph. We have to redo it.
Oh, acha, okay. All right. So I am reading each sentence. And yet this transformation into a large strength and equality is insufficient. Why? Because you are in the level 2, in the spiritual planes of consciousness. And he is explaining why. For it, if it opens to us the instrumentation of a divine life, it does not provide its government and initiative. You have the power, but you have to still use that power by your own decision making. That's what he's saying. The divine is not still working through you. Okay? But it opens to us the instrumentation of a divine life. The instruments for a divine life are there, but the instruments have to be used by the divine and not you. That's why it is insufficient. That means you have to go to the third level, where now the divine will act directly through you, and so the question of power doesn't even arise, because the divine has an infinite power. But to enable the divine to use your body, mind, life, you have to rise to the third level. In other words, you have to become more pure, more transparent, more receptive to the divine. It does not provide at the level 2 its government and initiative. That is government. The divine has to completely govern you. And initiative also. The word initiative is very interesting, because at our level, whenever we are going to act, then it always starts with a certain decision in the mind or the body. Yeah? Okay, even such a simple thing as I have to go to knowledge today, or I have to go to the shop to buy something. My pencil is gone, I have to buy a pencil or a pen. So this also there is an initiative in the mind. Okay? The Gita is very clear. Sarvarambha. Sarva. Every action is begun with an arambha in the mind. And that you have to give up, initiative. Let the divine decide for you whether you want a pencil or whether you have to go to knowledge. That is the thing that we do. So it does not provide government and initiative. It is here that the presence of the released psychic being intervenes. Okay? So he is talking of the peace and calm which have gone up. Okay? But then you have to also, the psychic being also has to awake. Why? He explained. It is here that the presence of the released psychic being. What is meant by the release? That means it is imprisoned deep inside you and you are not aware of it. But now it comes forward and life becomes an absolutely marvel of ananda, purificatory process. So there is joy and there is, what are the three things that go together? Beauty, love and joy. Beauty, love and joy. These are the characteristics of the psychic. And all three go together. You start seeing beauty everywhere. You start seeing everything is delight. It's delight. You appreciate the beauty of flowers, the beauty of the sunset, the beauty of everything. Even in a human being, some part will always be beautiful. It's very striking. Okay. Even a very ugly person may have a very beautiful figure, or the way they wear their dress. There is something beautiful. So you are always appreciating the beauty part of everything. Okay. So as was said, listen. But that is not its function. So it is here that the presence of the psychic, released psychic being intervenes. It does not give the supreme governmental direction. This is exactly what we were discussing yesterday or the last time with Yasmin. The psychic being purifies you, okay? But it does not give a supreme government and direction. It does not control it only purifies. So for that is not its function. The function of the psychic being is to purify only, but not to give you a supreme direction. It also turns you towards the divine. So when I use the word, it is like a sunflower. It is always facing the sun. Okay? And I was told by people who go for sunflower harvesting in lake that is true. The sunflower is always turned towards the sun. So psychic being is always turned towards the divine. Always you are conscious of the divine presence. Okay? But so for that is not its function. But it supplies during the transition from ignorance to a divine knowledge a progressive guidance for the inner and outer life and action. There you are. So this is it. It guides you on the way from ignorance to knowledge. Ignorance is level 1 and divine knowledge is level 2. So it helps you. It's a progressive guidance. Slowly, it is guiding you. So it may not give you liberation. Liberation can come only by the going to level 2 of the self. Okay. But that is not a function. So it supplies during the transition from ignorance a progressive guidance for the inner and outer life and action. It indicates at each moment the method, the way, the steps that will lead to that fulfilled spiritual condition in which a supreme dynamic initiative will be always there directing the activities of the divinized life force. So, he is continuing the powers of the psychic being. The light it sheds illuminates the other parts of the nature. In other words, the psychic comes forward and starts actually purifying your vital, illuminates the other parts of your nature, even your thinking will change. It will become more knowledge. No knowledge will come. Wrong thoughts won't come. And even if they come, they are immediately caught and told to transform, which, for want of any better guidance than their own confused and groping powers, have been wandering in the rounds of the ignorance. This phrase of wandering in the rounds of ignorance, Swamda repeats in many other places. We go on circling, trying to get out of the imprisonment of body, mind, life, but it's a vain effort unless you go to the higher plane or you get the psychic forward. The psychic helps, but the old movement goes on and on in the same way. Okay? That's the wandering in the rounds of the ignorance. It gives to mind. So what does the psychic do? It gives to mind the intrinsic feeling of the thoughts and perceptions. Not only the outer shell of the thoughts, but the real thought. What is the meaning of the inner thought that you have? Intrinsic feeling of the thoughts and perceptions. To life, what does it do to the vital? The infallible sense of the movements that are misled or misleading, and those that are well inspired. As soon as you make a mistake, the psychic will give you, as mother says, she uses the French word, un tape sur le nez. That means in English you don't say tape sur le nez, hitting you on the nose in French. But in English they say on your knuckles. It will give you a knock on the knuckles. Which are knuckles, gatta. Okay. That's what the psychic does. Okay. Misled or misleading, and those that are well inspired. Something like a quiet oracle from within. An oracle is a Greek priestess who could foretell the future and interpret things correctly. So that's it. So that becomes a psychic being. It tells you, it interprets everything correctly. It will not ever make a mistake. That's not possible for the psychic being. Okay? So it gives you a great guidance. Then what else does it do? Something like a quiet oracle from within discloses the causes of our stumblings. When we make a mistake, it will tell you why the mistake occurred. It warns in time against their repetition, extracts from experience and intuition the law, not rigid but plastic, of a just direction of our acts, a right stepping, an accurate impulse. I'll tell you a very interesting experience of a person who had the psychic awakening, and what happened to him was, he was arguing with somebody once, okay, but the old nature is still there. He was arguing with somebody and he was actually not wrong. He was right. But the argument became a little more violent than it should have been. And he was very assertive, and it also came into anger. But after that incident, the psychic told him very clearly that you may have been right in what you were doing, but you were absolutely wrong in your anger. So this person was forced to go and apologize to the person concerned the next day. So this is what the psychic does. It does not allow any wrong movement at all. It will always guide you. And this same person, okay, what happened was, when playing basketball, a wrong thought came into the mind of that person. Okay, like, oh, that ball should have been passed to me, but it is not passed. Oh, horrible fellow, why did he do that? See, that's a wrong thought. Immediately, there's an injury on the hand. So the psychic is saying, no wrong thoughts. So this is the guidance that you get when the psychic comes out. It does not tolerate any wrong movements of the consciousness. Okay, so see what he's saying? Warns in time against their repetition, extracts from experience and intuition the law, not rigid but plastic, of a just direction of our acts, a right stepping, no wrong stepping, an accurate impulse. Okay? A will is created that becomes more and more in consonance with evolving truth. Note the word evolving. You don't get truth immediately. You are slowly. There are so many levels, but from a lower truth to a higher truth, you are evolving. Rather than with the circling and dilatory mazes of a seeking error. Now, note the sentence, circling and dilatory mazes. Compare that with the rounds of the ignorance, okay? Wandering in the rounds. Same thing he is saying in different words. Wandering in the rounds, when you are not liberated, the old movement will go on. You are trying to make yourself better, but you will not succeed. You will go on, go on, go on. And here he is using also the interesting, and he is seeking a seeking error. Note the word error is E cap. So what does that mean? You are really seeking with great sincerity, but you don't have the guidance yet for the, you don't see why that error is happening. But if the psyche comes forward, that error itself will reveal what is wrong and it will guide you. Because you are seeking. By the way, you have to understand seeking error correctly. You are not seeking to make an error. The error is seeking for truth. That's what it means. Okay? So interpret the phrase correctly. Seeking error. You are making mistakes, but in the background there is an effort to understand and don't want to make a mistake. That's what it means by seeking error. Okay? Otherwise you wouldn't have put an error in ECAP. Okay? The error is, when you make an error, you know exactly what you should not have done. And then the psyche being reveals to you. Very interesting sentence, phrase that they're using, seeking error. It's not an error that is going on repeating itself. It is trying to find the truth. A determined orientation towards a greater light to be. It has to come. A soul instinct, a psychic tact and insight into the true substance, motion and intention of things, coming always nearer and nearer to a spiritual vision, to a knowledge by inner contact, inner sight, and even identity. These are the instruments of knowledge at a higher level. Inner contact, not through senses. That's what it means. Okay? Inner sight, not the gross sight, not the physical eyes, but the subtle eyes at level 2. And even identity. Identity starts at level 2 in the higher planes. You become what you want to know. Begin to replace the superficial keenness of mental judgment and the eager graspings of the life force. So, very clearly he is telling you what the psychic being does. Inside, coming always nearer and nearer to spiritual vision, to a knowledge by inner contact, inner sight, even identity. Begin to replace the superficial keenness of mental judgment. See, Srendu's phrases are so interesting. Mental judgment can be very keen, it can be very sharp, but it's only superficial. Nothing fantastic. You may see it, some people very intelligent and you will appreciate, my God, how intelligent he is. But it's only superficial. It's not deep at all. That's what it says. Superficial keenness of mental judgment and eager grasping of the life force. Okay. You are stretching out and wanting to grasp things very eagerly with full energy. And that also it is correct. The ways of the works of life right themselves. He is using the word right as a verb. Makes it. It is writing itself. It is correcting itself. Right themselves, escape from confusion, substitute for the artificial or legal order imposed by the intellect. Okay. Artificial and legal order is meaning morality. Okay. You impose yourself morally, but then this morality is replaced. Morality is a sort of confusion on between planes, so it replaces imposed by the intellect. The word imposed by the intellect tells you that it is morality. Morality and humanity, altruism, these are all things imposed by the mind, not by the soul. Okay? Very clearly. So, artificial or legal order imposed by the intellect. Very clearly, he's talking about morality. Okay? And for the arbitrary rule of desire, the guidance of the soul's insight, enter into the profound parts of the spirit. All this is psychic being. Above all, the psychic being imposes on life the law of sacrifice of all its works as an offering to the divine and the eternal. In other words, when the psychic is forward, you are constantly associating whatever you are doing with the divine, and your consciousness is always turned towards the divine. In the beginning, it may last for some time, but it doesn't always last because the background of your old humanity, old nature is there. So it will pull you down again until you purify yourself a little more, then the psychic can come forward. There what is said. So, on life, the law of sacrifice of all works is an offering to the divine and the eternal. Life becomes a call to that which is beyond life. So he is not very specifying very clearly, but because the divine is there everywhere. And he is more in level 2 and level 3 than in level 1. He is there in level 1 also. It's every smallest act enlarges with the sense of an infinite. So, the smallest act, it's very interesting. Again, I'll give you another example of that same person who had this awakening and he told me about it. Okay. So, he was wondering, what is this sacrifice? What does it mean when the psychic is always sacrificing everything? What does that word sacrifice mean? So, suddenly the answer came to him. He was about to switch on a light in a dark room. And then that act of just switching on that light became the sacrifice. Because you are offering that to the divine. So that's the note interesting. It's every smallest act enlarges with the sense of the infinite. Every sentence of Sri Aurobindo, okay, is so meaningful. But the meaningful comes through when you hear about these things. The switching on a switch, putting on a switch or putting it off, even such a small act can become a sacrifice if you associate the divine with it. It's so interesting. Okay? Every word of Sri Aurobindo is an absolute truth which can be experienced. Okay, so we are at now 8:32. So we have only 4 minutes left. Maybe we can read the next one. I think we can read the next one. Yeah? So, yesterday was, should I tell Archana Ji? There's no objection. It's gone. Yesterday was Archana Ji's birthday. So she will read today. As an inner equality increases.
Ranganath, I don't have the text now. Thank you, everybody.
Okay. All right.
Pallavi or Tariq, whoever has, please read it. I don't have the text now.
Okay. You are in dispensary, right?
Yeah. Now I'm in the dispensary. In between, I take 2 minutes and I come here.
Okay. So who has the text?
Ranganath, it is. I have a text, but Ranganath, it's 2-page para.
Oh, then we can't read it. We'll keep it for
It's a huge para.
Yeah, okay. That's what I was wondering, how big it is. Okay, so we do this.
Better that we read it next time so it stays fresh in our mind.
Fresh also. Yeah.
Yes. I will put that on the net because Sunki is not there today. Okay, so I'll
Yes.
page, yeah. Au revoir, everybody.
Au revoir, Ranganath.
Thank you.
179.
Merci for
Archana Ji.
Thank you.